more week until the playoffs. Find out if the Prince is in the Who Cares Bowl. I know that's what you all are here for. That's Marky Mark. I'm the Prince. How you doing, Marky Mark?
I'm doing pretty well. Got all the bugs worked out here. You over there in San Fran and me here in the mountains. You're gonna have to watch to see what the hell I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
I'm doing all right, man. Ready to roll here on the show.
All right, let's get into it. We got a big show. We're 2 weeks out of the playoffs, and everyone's here to figure out who's gonna make the playoffs and who's in the bottom four. And I know a certain particular person is here to find out if I make it to the Who Cares Bowl. My biggest fan.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into it there, Marky Mark.
All righty. We will start with the scores from last week. And we'll start off with the Prince. 125. Tank Top Mike, 117. So, man, this was really the only good score. We had 4 lopsided victories this week. But
Yeah.
you and Tank Top got after it this week, so let's talk about it.
I'm not gonna lie. This was another matchup that was going down to Monday night, and I 100% in my heart thought I was going to lose because I had Chris Olave going up against uh AK and Taysom Taysom Tyson Hill, you
Taysom.
know,
Yeah,
Taysom
right, first
Hill.
time. Yeah.
And sorry, I'm like 3 cups of coffee in, so I am hyped. So I was like, no way do I get out unscathed. I just accepted it on friggin' Sunday night that I was going to lose. So didn't even watch the game, went to sleep, woke up, and I'm like, oh, look at that. I won. But I had big days from people that normally don't really have real big days. Like Devontae Smith got me 19 points. So that was a big day for him.
Yeah.
Which usually all those targets go to AJ Brown. And then Joe Burrow did really well for me, 30 points. But I mean, people on his side weren't no schlubs. He's got Jacobs, who was a question going into the game. And then if he started, Mike said he was going to start him with really good confidence. I mean, 20 points, that's pretty darn good. Diggs got him 18. The one that probably hurt him the most is Pickens, which is kind of a shock in my eyes. I think he has the freaking offense looks flat as all get out. And it's not his fault that he's not getting the freaking ball the way he needs to be getting. And Pittman had a down day too. So I just caught him on a bad week.
Yeah, you said a lot there. I'll try to address it little by little. Yeah, I think with Goddard out, I think that helps Devonta Smith right now. It's pretty much a two-man show there in the passing game. Um, yeah, Pirine has been good for you, man. I got to say that I really thought that if anything happened with Mixon, that Evans might make a jump up, but Pirine's playing well. Um, yeah, I got to give him credit because I certainly didn't think he could do as well as he has, and he's come in there and taken the workload and done a good job. So you you didn't get a TD in your new stack there with Chase and Burrow, but they got you 43.24 points, so I think that's pretty good. I don't know, I'll
That's
take
okay.
that.
I mean, Chase got me 13 points without a touchdown.
Yeah,
I'll
he
take that every day.
looked good too. So any concerns about that hip, I think, should be out of mind right now. I don't think it's an issue.
They
Um,
definitely waited one more week with the intent that we're gonna wait until he's 100%, and we're not gonna even try to get him out there early for no apparent reason. We need him for the playoffs, not for right now. That sort of thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Pittman was a tough start for him. Um, Pickens should have been good. I don't know why they're not throwing the ball downfield to him like they were before. His A dot is really bad right now. It's amongst I think amongst like 105 qualifying wide receivers, he's down in the 90s somewhere,
Oh,
going off the top of my head. But that A dot was just terrible. And yeah, I mean, this dude is a contested catch guy, man. Throw it up to him. Yeah, between Pittman, Kamara, and Pickens, he got 8 total points. So that's tough. That's hard
yeah,
to
that's
that's
a,
hard to come back from. And I guess the good news is it looks like Swift is back. Swift is definitely looks like he's healthy, getting the workload again. So that's good. And it's a good time for him to be getting that. So
mhm.
um, so yeah, it was good win for you. I think you showed that you can hang with the top guys. A little bit of an off week for Tank Top, and so yeah, good win though. Maybe too little, too late, unfortunately for you. All right, we'll go on to the next score. We've got the Pooh Crew, 166. Who's your daddy's 89?
Yikes.
So yeah.
Yikes.
uh, Not much to talk about here on my end. What do you think? I mean, it's
Oh,
good week by him. I mean, Amon Ra with 29.10, DK with 22.7. Then the Browns defense, I said something about, hey, look, he's got the Browns defense in there, against Houston. Everybody wants that. Well, they had the best week against Houston of any defense. So
I thought it
really,
was funny. Like once they started going off, he put the Browns defense on the trade block.
yeah, yeah,
Like, how often does a defense get 20 points, let alone freaking 30?
yeah.
Like, come
I'm
on, man.
I'm sure it's been done. I don't remember a defense ever breaking 30 points like that. So it's a rarity, and it's not like he really needed it, but it certainly was a feather in his cap for sure.
That was a cherry and the sprinkles on his Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I talked about, I did a combination of three for Tank Top getting 8 points. I had a combination of three that got me 4.6 between Waddle, Kittle, and Hasty. Now, Hasty probably shouldn't have been in there, but uh, I last minute I took Singletary out because I just didn't feel good about him going up against New England because nobody's been running on New England lately. Who the hell knew that they would carry? I think they had like 37 carries in the game total, and
Jeez.
150 some yards. So it's like sometimes you think you know the game script ahead of time. You really don't. You never know. So I would rather take a chance on Hasty being in there than starting Singletary, and it was the wrong call. So it wouldn't have helped me anyway. But Kittle and Waddle, you figure they're going to get a little something. Of course, San Fran, they lost Garoppolo, and Waddle got hurt and came out of the game for a little while, and then Tua got hurt, and then yeah, so it just was
Yep.
kind of a disaster for me.
It was a
Um,
poop show Sunday for you.
yeah, and you remember I even said, yeah, yeah, I was talking about quarterback. I said I should start Geno really, and and I didn't, and he didn't get as much as Tua did.
Gino only
Or
had
Tua did.
23 points.
I was gonna
That's
say Tua
okay.
didn't get as much. Yeah, I said that backwards, but yeah, Geno was the start. But even if I'd gotten Singletary and Geno in there, I didn't have enough to get it done. It would have been respectable, but yeah, it wouldn't have got it done. So yeah, just I swear I don't know if I don't think I've beaten Ian yet. It seems
Well,
like I
the
always
Pooh Cruise has a freaking horseshoe stuck up his ass for the
yeah
last 3 seasons. So
yeah he had some down
30,
weeks.
there's no way that he was like, oh, I'm going to start the Browns defense and I'm going to get 30 freaking points. I bet he
Yeah.
was like, this is a good start. Like, I'll probably get like maybe double digits. He didn't go like, oh, I'm going to get 30 freaking points from the Browns defense. I mean, no one can freaking
Yeah.
guess that. I
Yeah.
mean, Amon Ra getting 30 points, that's in the realm of possibility,
Possibilities.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Metcalf had a freaking day,
Yeah.
probably the
Yeah.
best day he's had all year,
Yeah. He had a
which could have been negated if you had started Geno Smith, but to each
yeah.
their own.
Yeah. Now he had a perfect passer rating when targeted. DK did. So a good day for him for sure. For sure.
Geno Smith is quarterback 7 on the year, just so we
Yeah.
can put that out there.
again, talking about we think we know the narratives. Russell going to Denver, everybody's
Giddy up, right?
scrambling to get the Denver players, and it's going to be a down year for Seattle, and Seattle's the one that's competing for the playoffs, and Russell's probably not even going to break 20 TDs this year passing.
Oh,
He's gonna
Merry Christmas to us. We get to watch Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield go against each other. Gee golly. I
yeah.
can't wait.
If Baker gets the start, we'll have to see what happens there, but yeah, that's not a good. That's what you put it on in the background and play cards or something,
Do anything other than watch that
Yeah,
football game.
yeah, exactly. All right, we'll go on to our next score here. We got the DBs 161, FNG 92. So yeah, not a lot to say here. The big day by the big guns, except for Henry on the DB side. So they survived an off day by Henry. FNG lost Walker early. He lost Burks early. He only got 12.6 points combined with those two.
Cooper had a down day.
Yeah, down day for Cooper, and Godwin 10.3, not great, and not a top Godwin day,
Yeah,
So
usually you'd want
yeah,
to see him about 13, 14 points.
yeah.
Yeah.
So everything was clicking for DBs. Nothing was for the FNG. What else did you see here?
I mean, Garrett Everett had a freaking day. He had 10 points in the freaking land of misfit toys that is tight ends. Like,
Yeah.
getting double points at tight end is pretty darn good. But I mean, he's been propped up by Kenneth Walker and getting like 15, 20 points a day. And then,
Yeah.
and
Big
then
days by Godwin.
Ramon Stevenson didn't have a very good day like
Ramondre
normal.
Stevenson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a big day for him. Yeah, that was that game, man. I don't know what they were doing, man. It definitely hurt me in my week with the game script the way it worked out. Um, but freaking, I don't know that looked like a high school offense to me. We used to do a lot of down and out routes too, because it was an easy route and it was something quick to do, and I was like, they're not throwing downfield, they're just throwing down and outs, man. What the hell? And they weren't even running the targets to the sticks. So they were getting, if he would complete one, it would be short. That was just, I would have been really pissed if I was a New England fan watching that game, man. That was just horrible. So, but yeah, they did a good job benching Lamar because he got hurt. He only got 1.34 points, so they got the right quarterback in there this week.
I mean, Dak
Yeah.
versus Indianapolis is a good start.
Oh yeah, that was the way to go. That was definitely the way to go. But yeah, not FNG needed a whole lot to go right, and pretty much nothing did for him, unfortunately. So
Yeah. We'll see how he turns around this next week.
yeah, right. All right, we'll move on to the A Bombers 111, Silly Dilly 70. So not a big day scoring for A Bomb, but he kept his playoff hopes alive here. So what do you think?
What do I think? I think that Devonte Adams had half of Dilly's score. That's what I think.
You mean A Bomb, right? Or
Well, Devonte Adams had 33 points, and that's
yeah,
half
but
of
you
Dilly's
said for
score.
Dilly. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, the way you said it, I thought you were saying half of the score for Dilly, but he scored
No.
half as much as
Yeah,
Dilly's
exactly.
total score. Okay. I
I
think we're
saw
all caught
something
up.
I saw something online today that Devonte Adams is uh playing harder and having a better career year in Raider Nation than he ever did in Green Bay. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, that connection with Rogers was so good that you kind of wondered how he would do, even though he played with Carr before. It had been years, and
Right.
that was in college and not in a pro. So to me, that narrative was kind of whack anyway. Why, it just no comparison there, But they got back on the same page pretty quickly, and yeah, he's had some big days there. He's without Waller in there, he's the pretty much it, No
That's
Renfro
true.
there, so you don't even have your third down guy, that you can count on to get those, get beyond the sticks and get a first down for you. So it's just everything's going to Devontae pretty much. So
Which normally is exactly what he wants. Like in
yeah,
Green Bay, that's exactly how it was. But
yeah,
it seems like he's putting in more effort, I think, because he has to.
yeah,
I don't know. Like when he would play in Green Bay, like you and I would watch games with Green Bay, and we'd all know that it's going to Adams, and he does like 3 steps, and he just lollygags and catches the ball into the end zone. Like,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
in Las Vegas, it looks like he's having to put some effort into the routes and playing a little harder and
yeah.
catching balls one-handed into his chest and stuff. I mean,
He's definitely the focal point of the defense, any defense that he's playing, because they don't
yeah.
have, even though he was, they didn't have a lot of wide receivers besides him in Green Bay, but they did have more weapons. So, yeah, with Waller going out and Renfro bringing out, he's definitely the focal point, but he's still getting it done. So, yeah, I don't know if he's working any harder. He's probably having to work harder to get open, but he's just really good, man. He's
Hmm.
just he is it's his craft, man. He's really good at his craft.
I
Um,
mean, looking down these lineups, I mean, Abom didn't have anybody that really stood out besides Adams.
yeah,
Like
Chubb
everybody
Chubb
else got
Chubb did not
below.
score 60 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember we talked about how sometimes, it looks like you should smash and then you don't. He gets 30 against the team he probably shouldn't. He gets 8 points against freaking Houston, but again, they get the lead, the defense scoring points. Take a rest, Chubb. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And then over on Dilly's side, freaking he scores 70 total points and Tony Pollard scores 20 of those points. So
yeah, 23.6. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, his only other double-digit guy was Aaron Rodgers at 13.68, which isn't good for a quarterback,
yeah, that's
you
a
know.
down freaking Rodgers
And that was against
day.
Chicago. But yeah, just not a lot going on for Dilly there, man. He's got some work to do on this roster.
It's definitely going to be an uphill climb for a couple of years, I think, because he doesn't
Yeah,
have the draft picks to make a big change over a year. But he can do it. I mean, I think I've got faith in him. If he makes some savvy moves, catches fire on a couple of guys, flips them for a couple picks, I don't know. He could do it.
yeah,
He's just gotta be smart with his next few moves.
yeah. I think we've talked about he's got to be more patient. He's had good young talent in there, and he's traded it all away. And
To the poo crew.
well, not just the Puku, but he traded you
Yeah.
Devonta Smith, who's wouldn't be a bad flex for him. Um,
He only scored 18 points.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think he's just got to try to draft some good guys and be patient and try to hold on to them maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was down day for Allen and Andrews. These are some of A-bomb studs. But then a guy like Slayton gets some 12. Evans has been bad. I don't know. Evans is just not the same this year. But of course you could say that about the entire offense.
Yeah.
They're not playing as well. I mean, they did the same thing like we saw them do when we went down to watch the game against the Rams. They played like crap until the very last, and then they
I
got
only
it done.
remember the last 5 minutes of that game. All right. Let's just
Yeah.
say
And
that.
it was I was watching it, and I'm listening to the crowd and I'm like, yeah, this is just like when we were there. And then that crowd went crazy when they scored the last minute touchdown. So yeah, they got to stop doing that though, man. Why don't you do a little bit of that? Whatever they're doing on the last drive, they need to start doing that the whole game.
Yeah, let's be a second half team instead of a last quarter team.
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Let's move on to our last score. That is Goofy effing Jace 136, Professor Poindexter 67.
Yikes.
Not a lot to talk about here. Do you wanna highlight anything?
Josh Palmer got almost 10 points. That's a pretty good day.
Yeah.
All right, I'm totally gonna destroy this name, but it's on brand for me. Zonhovian, Zohovian. I don't know. Night.
Oh my God. Why are you
Z
putting a,
Knight.
why are you putting an H in there?
I don't
Zonhovian.
freaking know.
It's it's
Uh,
it's it's Zonovan. It's like
oh
Donovan.
yeah. That's what I
It's like
meant.
Donovan with a D. For some reason you put a H in there.
What the fuck
Zonhovian.
ever. The 1 week that he will be relevant, he scored 13 points because he got freaking 15 carries.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think I
Nico
mean
Collins.
Carter
I was on him early. I think before the freaking season started, I thought Nico Collins could be a somewhat pretty good flex play, and he's been pretty good going down the stretch here.
Yeah, no, he's been getting a lot of usage on a really bad team, but yeah, I think Nico is going to be all right if they get things turned around there. Probably going to be another one and done, I would think for Lovey. But going back to Zonovan though, man, Carter may or may not be back, but I think Zonovan's going to hold on to a role there because Carter, like I've been saying since he came in the league, he doesn't profile as a 3 down back, as a
Mm-hmm.
workhorse guy. So I feel like, and you look at old Bam Knight, just call him Bam, that's his nickname. So you don't have to go into the whole Zonhovian thing.
Zonhovian.
Just call him Bam. And yeah, old Bam, they call him that because that's how he runs, man. He bams into guys. He doesn't avoid contact. He forces a lot of missed tackles. So
He bams into guys. You
yeah.
actually said that.
So
All
yeah,
right.
I think he might still have a role there. I think he's worth a flex. I think he might be worth a flex. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see Carter coming in there and taking that role. I think we might. It's kind of he's going to spell Brees for right now, and then Carter's going to have that satellite role kind of thing.
Did you hear that?
What's that?
That was Landon putting Bam Knight on the fucking trade block
Oh
right
yeah,
after we
yeah.
say that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Now that he figured out how to do it, and he's all proud of himself. So
I'm looking over here at Goofy, and I don't know how he's done it. I don't know how he's gotten through a whole year with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon on the same team. You got to start both of them because you have no idea who's going to go off, and there is a potential that both of them go off.
yeah,
This week was a AJ Dillon week, so he went off, and then Aaron Jones got minuscule points for him, but I wouldn't want anything to do with that having both of them on the same team because you have to start both of them unless you have like a clear 1-2 running back. I mean, it's hard.
yeah. I think it's usually that you know it averages out, sort of like when I started Zeke and Pollard, against the DBs.
Mm-hmm.
You just hope it averages out. Um, I don't know. Maybe that's not the best thing, but you play them both so that you don't have to guess which one to play on any given week. So
They'll average out to about 11 points each.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Keenan had a good game. Looks like he might be back to the full strength, and of course Hertz is just killing it for him.
Yeah,
And
Hurts is destroying it.
Cowboys defense got 20 points for him. They got a touchdown call back too. So it could have been more. It could have even been more. I had the Cowboys in another league, and they pretty much paced me to the win, and I got locked up the the fourth spot for the playoffs.
Oh,
in
subtle
that
flex,
league.
Marky
So
Mark.
hey, it's the only one I got, man. It's the only thing I got the flex on this year, man. It's been a bad year for me. So, but yeah, looking on Poindexter side here, another. I did some of these three player splits just to show how bad it was, And he had Watson, um, Deshaun Watson. He had Kyron Williams. He had Hayden Hurst combined for 8.44. So um, that
Yeah.
definitely led to a bad week for him. Corey Davis definitely, he was okay, but not much going on for him, man. That's a pretty bad score. So
Speaking of Corey Davis, we all thought he was going to leave Tennessee and take a number one spot in the Jets offense, and he's been absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, they've drafted some really good wide receivers, but Davis is just anymore
yeah,
fantasy wise.
he's dealt with some injuries over the last couple of years too, though. So it's kind of held him back. He just can't he can't get any consistency going because he hadn't been able to stay in enough. So, but he's been okay when he's healthy and he's got some chemistry there with the quarterbacks, whoever plays. Um,
The carousel quarterbacks
yeah,
in
he got three
New
of them
York.
this year, so yeah, it's been kind of crazy. So, but yeah,
Okay, let's
this
go
is the
ahead and move into why everyone is listening to the show tonight, and that is the standings. The standings is going to be crazy. It's week 13. We only got one more week to lock in your positions, and we have two teams that have locked in their ticket to the playoffs, and that is the Underdogs and Tank Top Mike. Then it gets a little hairy. Let me see if I can break this down for everybody and make it coherent. All right, so right now we got the Pooh Crew at 8-5 with 1,695 points. The points will matter if something magical happens, and I'll get into that. Goofy is 8-5 with 1,453 points, 1,453 points. That matters. And then A Bomb is out here at 7-6 with 1,617 points. Keep that in mind when we go down the matchups for next week, because two of those teams play each other, and if one beats the other and some magic happens and he beats them by 80 something points, Goofy's gonna be the one left standing holding the TNT bucket. So it'll be fun to see who actually gets the third and fourth spots. Okay, then you're down here at 6. You're playing a pretty tough team going into next week. We'll get into that a little bit later. And then I'm at 7. If I get a win, I am out of the bottom 4 and into my proverbial who cares ball for the third year in the fucking row. So it'll be fun. The standings are pretty locked in, but this last week 14 is coming down to the end, and we'll see who locks in the third and fourth and what seeding they get.
Yeah, there could be some movement. I guess we'll talk about it more in the matchups, like you said. So why don't we move into them, starting with
Let's go.
the Marky Mark matchup, as always.
Is Tank Top Mike in the Marky Mark matchup? That's what he wants to know.
We have Tank Top Mike out of the Marky Mark matchup this week. So
Tank Top Mike is just like, thank you, God. Thank you for not picking me this week.
yeah. I was speaking of, did you hear that? We just heard Tank Top Mike saying thank you. He's thanking whatever deity he worships right now. All right. Yeah, we'll start with the Marquee Mark matchup. That is the Pooh Crew versus the A Bombers. So you just started talking about it a little bit there in the standings. Ian is almost a lock for the playoffs. He's got he's got a good point lead right now. So
Mhm.
whether he wins or loses, he should be in. A-Bomb
Yeah.
definitely needs a win to stay in the hunt. So this is a big one. I think we figured out that A-Bomb would have to win by 79 points, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
If he wins,
And
if he wins by 79 points, then he could lock up the playoff spot.
so
And
how it will work is if A-Bomb wins by 70 plus points, he will he will go from 5 to 3, and then the Pooh Crew will fucking
well,
drop to 4, and
it
he's still locked in. It just doesn't matter like where his seeding's going to be.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, if A-Bomb wins but not by enough, then he would need some help. So yeah, and Ian's sitting pretty because he's got enough points now, a good points cushion where he should make it. He should make it,
What
but he
what
hasn't made it
A-Bomb will
yet.
need, what A-Bomb will need is for you to beat Goofy. All
Right.
right. They'll give him the extra loss, and then they would have the same record, and then A-Bomb would win because of points.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Goofy is playing you this week. If he gets the win, he's in. If
Yeah.
Goofy wins, he's in.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting because there's a few things that could happen, and so it's
Yeah.
yeah. Like I said, Ian is not a lock yet, but he's looking the best out of the three of those, I think.
Yeah.
So
He's got the
um,
easiest path to the playoffs
yeah,
for sure.
Goofy a win and he's in for sure by record. So
Hmm.
A-Bomb definitely needs the win this week to stay alive. So let's talk
And
about the. Oh,
this
go ahead. Go
matchup
ahead.
is going to be intense. If for what Goofy need, what not for what A-Bomb needs to happen, he's
Yeah.
gonna need the Pooh Crew to completely fall on his face, and for A-Bomb to pick somebody up off the waiver wire that's gonna drop 35 points like he normally does. So,
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if he's going to do that.
how many times have you picked up the same person A-Bomb does in another
Yeah.
league and been like, "Giddy up, let's go"?
Yeah, I'm starting to watch that. Whoever he picks up in this league, I try to pick up in other leagues, man, if they're out there. Yeah, looking at what A-Bomb's got going here. Adams versus the Rams could be a big one for him. It could be another 30-pointer for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Rams, normally have a good defense, but Donald's out, and their offense isn't keeping the defense off the field. So all of a sudden, playing against the Rams is a good matchup. Doesn't show it. That's one of these where talk about you have to see what have you done for me lately. And
Yeah.
the Rams, even though it still shows as maybe a favorable matchup, it really isn't. So
I don't know. I
um,
think the Rams defense is going to be on the field a lot because
yeah,
the
yeah,
offense can't stay on the
right. That's the
and
whole that's the whole point. Yeah. He's got Allen versus the Jets. He's got it's one of those divisional matchups. So,
Mhm.
but last week it didn't look like I thought I didn't think Allen would do much against New England, and he did. So, we'll see what he can do against the Jets. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Two good corners there. They're kind of shutting things down. So, um, he might have to do more with his legs.
Mhm.
We'll see if they come up with a good game plan like they did against New England. So,
Which I'm sure A-Bomb is totally okay with.
oh yeah,
If Allen has to run for 100 yards and a score, I mean,
yeah, yeah,
still counts. It counts as 6 instead of 4. Let's go.
yeah. True, true. So we may see more running. It's going to be an interesting matchup there. That's a big one for him because he needs a big game out of Allen to keep pace, I think. So
Yeah.
he's got Hinton in there right now. I'm seeing Mostert on his bench. I think I might start. What are you laughing about, man?
I wouldn't start a Denver player if you paid
No,
me.
I
Like,
know,
what are we doing here?
I know. Is
Now
he
that we
is
said that, Russell Wilson will actually play like Russell Wilson, and Hinton will have freaking 3 touchdowns and 100 yards.
yeah,
Like
yeah. He's actually gotten good usage. And if it was on a normal team, Hinton might, he's actually putting up decent points on a really bad team. So, and it's not that Hitton's been playing bad. It's just he's been playing with Wilson on that god awful Denver offense, So
And
I,
Sutton is hurt, and Judy's been hurt, and
yeah. So I think I might have Mostert in there over Hinton, but that's his decision, and I'm sure he's still toying with it. So we'll see what happens. Over on Puku's side, I see he's sitting Debo and ATN, and that's kind of interesting because you would think, oh, start your studs, but they are playing Tampa Bay. Debo's playing Tampa Bay, and Etienne is playing Tennessee. So they're not great matchups. So
Debo's
um,
been banged up.
yeah, and Etienne looks like he's all right, but
Yeah, he looked okay last week.
yeah, yeah. Instead, he's going with Jeff Wilson and Michael Gallup. I think those are the guys he's probably playing over those two in the flex, and so
he's got a
yeah,
lot of green
better.
matchups with Amon-Ra, Kelsey, and DK Metcalf, who had a really good week last week. I mean, they're playing Carolina. If DK Metcalf doesn't get at least 20 points, like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah.
But
Who was Kansas City playing? Was it they're playing a good defense?
Kansas City is playing the Denver.
Oh, they're
They're
playing
playing
Denver.
Denver.
That's right. It's a good defense. But Kelsey could be the top guy there.
Yeah, he's
Definitely.
projected 17 points at tight end.
Yeah, it's kind of the one place that you can do well against Denver. You don't run well against them. But of course, again, you got an offense that doesn't keep the defense off the field, so they've made it really tough on the Broncos. As good as that defense is, man, So, well,
Yeah,
it's going to be
this will definitely be the matchup to watch this week.
yeah,
All the
yeah,
rest of them are kind of hit and miss. Besides maybe your matchup is the only other one that is like a must watch. But yeah, this one will have a lot of implications going into the playoffs.
yeah, true. Yeah, we will talk about the rest of them, but we don't need to spend a lot of time on them. We'll go with before we go on to mine, we'll go to Tank Top Mike against Silly Dilly. I'm
All right.
calling this the CSMFer Bowl. This is this is this is Dylan's last chance to make some noise on the field rather than just in chat. But
I'm
let's just
excited to see if Patrick Mahomes and Stephon Diggs, just those two players, outscore Dilly.
yeah,
Like,
they
to get
could.
those two players just outscore Dilly completely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, basically, Dylan's got Pollard going up against Houston. That could make things a little interesting, but there's not much else going on for him.
Name one other person on his team that you think is going to be a positive this week.
Yeah, I didn't write anything down. If there was, I would have written it down. So I don't really,
Exactly.
I don't. There's not much to get
Exactly.
excited about. Yeah, it's Tank Top's. He's got some questionable guys in there. Jacobs, Swift, and Judy. Although I think Swift should come. He should come off the report. I think really. Judy is not too bad either. Jacobs is a little more concerning, and I'm really hoping that he's okay. You know what? I'd even love it if they'd sit Jacobs this week, just so Tank Top's got a healthy Jacobs for the playoffs. Um,
Yeah.
so and he's got some tough matchups going, but he should get it done. It's good timing for Tank Top. He's got the playoffs sewn up, so he doesn't have to really sweat it this week at all.
Yeah. All he's got to do is set it and forget it. And I think I remember seeing something about D Swift today. I can't remember if it was positive or negative, but I think something came across the wire about him. Um, but yeah, Jacobs, if he gets set and Tank Top has to put somebody in there, I think he'll be fine. Because, like you said, he doesn't need the win, and points don't matter. He already clinched his spot.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
if his team can get healthy going into the playoffs, I'm sure Tank Top will be much obliged to that.
yeah.
Even write really nice Christmas letters to the head coaches. Thank you
Yeah,
for sitting Josh Jacobs in week 14. Appreciate
yeah,
you. Thank you.
yeah. That's kind of like a bye week for Tank Top. Playoffs haven't started, but it's almost like he's got a bye this week. So
Now, let
sorry,
me ask you a
sorry.
question as a commissioner.
Yeah.
If Mike like sat his whole lineup and put a bunch of schlubs in there and was like, "Oh, I'm sitting my good players, get ready for the playoffs." Is that against the rules?
That's not in the spirit of the NAO league. We all know that.
That'd be the biggest troll in the world.
Yeah, no matter what, when, how, we put our best lineups in there, man. So all right, let's move on. Moving on.
Moving on.
Get off of that talk. We're gonna go with the next best matchup, and that is the Hoosier Daddies versus Goofy F and Jace. Goofy got me by less than a point twice over 2 leagues. 2 times this year, I lost to him by less than a point.
So you have an axe to grind, you're saying.
I'd really love to repay the favor. I'll tell you what, man.
Right now you're projected to only score 104 points, but to your benefit, Goofy is only projected to score 91 points.
Yeah, man.
This guy's in the playoffs.
The buys are killing him this week, man. And he really needs a win to lock it up. Win and he's in, right?
Right,
And
exactly.
he's looking at his lineup and saying, "Son of a bitch, man." Yeah, he's got a bunch of guys on bye. I don't have so much with the buys, but I do have Tua and Waddle. They're questionable and they're kind of dinged up coming in, and they've got a great matchup, man. But both of them sitting there on queue, and I'm looking at that thinking, well, I might have to pivot off of that. Sorry about using that word that you hate, but
I see you got Singletary in there this week. You didn't have him in there last week. He's going up against the Jets. That'll be okay, I think.
Yeah,
it looks like a bad matchup here, but I think they can be ran on.
Yeah, and that maybe they come up with maybe that's part of the game plan too. Is don't test those corners. Just see if you can run the ball a little more. I see that Foreman came up questionable this week. He had a bye, and he comes out of the bye questionable. I'm like, son of a gun, man. He's got a good matchup.
You gotta love it.
And he's been good against the bad rushing defenses and bad against the good ones. So I was excited until I saw him pop up on the questionable list. And of course, I've got Ayuk going against Tampa Bay, which is tough, and Purdy as the quarterback. So I've got some shaky stuff in there. Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. So yeah, I mean, I'm catching Goofy on a week where I should be able to win, but I've got a few question marks there, so we'll have to see.
This is not a lock. Not a lock.
Neither way. So it's really interesting matchup. If he loses this one and A-Bomb wins, then he's probably out. He would be out. He'd have the same record.
He would be out.
Yeah, he had the same record, and there's no way he's not going to get the points. So he's got to get the win to get in. So
if he wins, he's in, but he's got an uphill battle. I mean, Hurts could drop 35 points against the Giants. I don't care who they're playing right now. They could be playing against the best defense in the league, and he could still drop 35 points on a guy. And Keenan Allen coming back at the right time, he could do some damage too, which ultimately benefits him twice because the Puku's got Herbert, and Herbert's going up against A-Bomb, and he needs A-Bomb to lose. So that'll benefit him twice. So he's got a couple guys that could do some stuff, but he's got a lot of freaking question marks.
Yeah, I saw they had Russell Gage in there, and Gage hasn't even played in a while, has he? I think.
No, he hasn't played in a while.
Yeah. So
he's got Jameson Williams in there too. So
oh wow, I didn't.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, he was definitely on a pitch count last week. He'll probably increase this week, but yeah,
right.
They're bringing him along slow, which they should do. But well, yeah.
Dallas Cowboys versus the Houston Texans.
How about this, man? 2 weeks in a row, I've got to face the defense that's playing Houston. And we see what they did last week. And I think Dallas is a little bit better than Cleveland,
Just a lot.
Yeah. So, Yeah,
Micah Parsons about to have 7 sacks and 3 touchdown recoveries. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. And in the league that I did make the playoffs, we start this week on the playoffs because it's 3 rounds, and I've got Dallas playing. So I'm hoping that they do well, but as well as they do for me in the playoffs is going to be against me in this league. But again, it could be one of those where your eyes get big and then it just doesn't materialize because they don't need to. I don't know.
We'll see what we're saying next week.
Yeah. They are going to start Mills, I saw, which is probably, I'd if I'm starting the Cowboys defense in my fantasy league, I want them playing against Kyle Allen again. I think Mills is definitely a lot better than Kyle Allen. Maybe carrying the clipboard a couple of weeks will help him out because I don't think he's bad. Certainly,
no, I don't think he's bad at all.
Yeah, big upgrade over Kyle Allen. So.
Lovie Smith is the issue. I know he was a Buck and everything, but he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach by far.
Yeah, that offense has changed and it's not for the better. So, but yeah, that's going to be that's a key to Goofy's lineup. I think is that Cowboys defense, and it's funny he did ask in chat if he could play 2 defenses. I see why now when you're starting like Russell Gage and freaking. Jameson Williams, who's going to be good, but this year maybe not so much. So
next year he'll definitely be good.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next matchup. This is the Prince versus FNG. So not a lot to say here either. I mean, this is a decent matchup as far as your lineup's concerned, but he's got Walker is iffy but possible.
Mm-hmm.
Burks is doubtful, I think. He's got a decent lineup, but that's 2 guys that I know that he definitely wants to count on, and not sure if he can. So what do you think about that, and what do you think about your side of the ledger?
Well, one positive looking at my my lineup, Cam Akers had a really good week last week. He got a lot of run. He's found the end zone twice. He's got a good matchup this week against Las Vegas. He's projected 6 points right now. That offense doesn't have anything to live on, so I think they're just going to try to run the ball if they get positive yards. The one fear I do have is that the defense knows that too, and that they're going to start stacking the box against that offensive line, and it's going to be a long day for them. So we'll see what that does. But I think the rest of my lineup can cover his lineup pretty well. I mean, with Ken Walker not playing, he's a solid cornerstone of his lineup right now, and he's not going to play. I don't think he plays.
No, he should probably miss at least 1 game from what the injury guys are saying. It's a weird injury to call it a jammed ankle, but but I listened to one guy talking about the way they taped it up and stuff. It might be more, and freaking Carroll is terrible about just coming up with a bunch of bullshit when it comes to the players and their injuries and just everything. You can't trust the thing he says.
Screen. He knows exactly what is happening.
It's just a jammed ankle, but they said the way they were taping it, I would think he's going to miss a game or 2. So I wouldn't count on him. It's like I said, it's iffy, maybe possible, but I think if I was betting any money on it, I'd call him doubtful. I'd call him doubtful. So you should. Go ahead.
With Walker being out, I think he's going to have to benefit from Amari and Godwin going crazy. They have to have ridiculous games for him to be really good this week, I think, because they're going to have to make up for people that aren't going to do very well. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just looking at it how it is.
Yeah. Juju going up against a good Denver defense there, and he's
Sanders going up against New York Giants.
Yeah, that's one of those divisional matchups, and Juju hasn't been the same since he went out with his concussion, so he's still kind of finding his way back, it seems. So it's not a lot of other. Yeah, you're right. There's a couple of guys that he really needs to overperform, and you got that good 1-2 punch at the wide receiver position, and you got that that Burrow stack might get you touchdowns this week, and getting 10 points anytime they do that.
Yeah.
I think you're
Mixon
looking good.
had a full practice today, so
Yeah,
Mixon will probably be back from the concussion too. So
I don't know if they officially declared it, but he should be cleared.
yeah.
I may have seen that it said that he had cleared the protocol finally, so he should be good to go there. But hey, if you're not, I mean,
I got
P.
Ryan. I
Ryan's
mean,
been fine.
that's an
Yeah,
easy 1-2 swap.
if I didn't have better, if I was like short on flex options, I might even flex in P. Ryan, man, and play both of them, So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it's gonna be the only question I got is the Bengals going against Cleveland. I don't really like the idea of starting either Tampa Bay or the 49ers because that game could go either way.
yeah,
The 49ers always play Tampa Bay hard,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think it's gonna be a freaking knuckle fight the whole time.
yeah.
So I don't want anything to do with that. Hopefully Cleveland kind of falls on their face with Deshaun Watson at quarterback still, and I get some points from the Bengals defense.
I think that's the one to go with. I think the San Francisco defense, as good as they've been, they could be down if Purdy can't keep moving the sticks.
Yeah, they're going to be on the field a lot, and I do not want a defense on the field a lot.
Yeah, and as good as Purdy was, and everybody's talking about him this week, it's never surprising when you got the guy that comes in that they haven't game planned for. Sometimes they have a good game, they come in with that adrenaline, but then the next week the defense has had time to prepare, and now you're talking about Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the last overall pick in the draft, pretty much an undrafted free agent quarterback has got to come in there and beat a good defense. And, it's not, I wouldn't bet any money on it at all. If he does, he's going to be the thing of legends if he comes in there and does something against your Bucks, but I sure wouldn't count on it. I'm looking at Ayuk in my starting lineup, like, is there a better option? Cause that one scares me,
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. All right. Our last matchup of the week is the DBs versus Professor Poindexter.
If you can see my face, it's not great.
There's really nothing to say. There's just nothing to say. What are you gonna do?
What's the over under on DBs beating them by 100 points?
Yeah. I guess that's.
I mean, that's a solid. I mean, they're projected 150 points, and Poindexter is projected 90. So it could happen. It could happen.
It's a little disappointing the way some of these matchups down the last couple of weeks shook out, because it was a lot of the top teams playing the bottom teams, and the bottom teams didn't do enough to improve to hang with them. So it's
technically this is two bottom teams playing each other.
Well, true, very
because
true.
The DBs were a bottom team.
Yeah,
and then they made the changes. The GM on the DBs did a really good job to actually hit on a couple guys that he wanted. And now they're freaking 11 and 12 and 1. They're 12 and freaking 1.
Yeah. And they probably should have been in the top 5 anyway. They've just had some rough luck with injuries and things like that. It just all came together for them this year, man. It's been a really good.
The last 2 years we've been banging down the door that their lineup has been good. They should be doing way better than they have been. And this year it's actually coming into fruition.
Yeah, sure has. Yeah, not much to say about that one. That's right. I guess that's the thing to watch is will they beat them by 100? It could happen.
It would be crazy if now that we said that, and if the DBs freaking team takes a giant shit and freaking the professor over here gets a W, I will just be like, well, that's why we play fantasy football. That's why we don't just give trophies away, and the week has to be played.
They almost did it last week. They had 161 to 67 points. I was round, but they were only 6 points shy of doing it last week. So come on, DBs, give us something fun to talk about.
Yeah, DBs, you got to beat them by 100.
If you don't beat them by 100, then everything else is it's your season just was for nothing, man.
Yeah, I know. You might as well just pack it up. Don't even go to the playoffs. Just
hang your head in shame, man.
you can give your seeding to me. I will be a good person in the playoffs for you. Like I've been putting up some pretty good points. I've just been getting my ass kicked.
Yeah, you had the season I had last season. You had this season, man. So
I'm not complaining. I'm fine with being in the bottom because you can see the benefit of it. Because I mean, like the DBs had a really good team and they were in the bottom half of the league, and then they had a pretty good schedule. So I'm not freaking complaining at all. I'm ready to play these bottom 5 guys. But
well, like we said, though, if I lose and you win, then you're back up there where you belong.
Well, no. If I move up, I'm still in the bottom half of the league. So I'll still play the bottom
half. Yeah, true. I don't think there's any way you jump up to 5th place, right? So
God, no, I hope not. Jesus,
so you will play the bottom 5 schedule. Yeah. So it's a matter of you're in the who cares or the Miyagi. So
I want to be in the bottom half of the who cares.
Yeah.
So that is week 13. Next week is the last week of the regular season. We're going to find out who gets in, who's not. Find out that I make the 3rd freaking Who Cares Bowl, and I
3rd annual Who Cares Bowl.
Welcome to my playoff. This is my playoff. It's rename it after me. The Prince's playoff.
Just gonna say we may have to name it after you, man.
I've been here for 3 years. I'll show you around. I'll give you a good tour of the place, and then I'll beat your ass in the playoffs. It's in the Who Cares Bowl.
I know a loyal listener who will lobby for naming it after you.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Might even put it on the site just for the heck of it.
Oh, and just for that,
change it on the site.
Ian, you suck.